Hello everybody and welcome to algebra. So you've had some pre-algebra in Unit 2 and Unit 1, and now we're going to do some solving for x, which is a typical algebra thing. And this is Unit 3.1a. So very first baby steps in algebra. And we're going to learn about something called the addition principle. And we're going to talk about inverse operations, and in this case we've got subtraction or negative numbers. So in order to solve this equation, we are going to be adding, and as long as you add the same thing to both sides of the equation will still be true, it'll still be equal, and we will use that rule to figure out what x is. Okay, so our first problem is x minus 29 is equal to negative 40. And you might be able to see the answer on your own, but we're going to just follow these steps and get to the correct answer without having to try and do any heavy lifting with our brain. We'll just apply the rules. The second problem, question 2, is negative 19 is equal to negative 18 plus x. Again, we'll take a look at these on my tablet and just apply the rules, simple steps, and solve for x. So same as before, we are going to look at what's happening to x and use the inverse operation. Inverse operation, and if you don't know about inverse operations, that's a keyword you can use at Khan Academy to learn more about it. So we have x, and what's happening to x? 29 is being subtracted from x. So what we want to do to get rid of this 29 and just have x on this side, we're always trying to isolate x, we're going to add 29 to both sides. We have to add 29 here and add 29 here. And so this will be a good workout for your positive and negative integers. How will you do those operations? So this is like matter and antimatter. Positive 29 is like matter, and negative 29 is like antimatter. They meet and destroy. They cancel each other out, leaving just x. And x is equal to negative 40 plus 29. And so I've been, when the numbers get bigger like this, it's easier, I think, to sign the numbers. And if the signs are different, you're going to take the difference between those two values. So the difference between 40 and 29. And difference is a keyword that implies subtraction, right? Difference. So if the signs are different, no, I'm not spelling that right. If the signs are different, you're going to take the difference. So the difference between 40 and 29 is, let's just do simple subtraction. 10 minus 9 is 1, 3 minus 2 is 1. So it's 11. And we're going to take the sign of the larger number, and that's the number with the larger absolute value. In this case, 40 is bigger than 29, and it's negative. So that negative sign is going to survive to the 11. So when we add positive 29 to negative 40, we can take the difference between those two numbers because the signs are different. We get 11, and then the negative is what the negative sign survives on the new number. So there is our answer. X is equal to negative 11. And we can prove that by plugging this value, negative 11, into x. So is negative 11 minus negative 11 minus 29, is that equal to negative 40? And I think if you calculate that, you can look at this as combining like terms. These are both negative, so you're going to get the sum will be more negative. So negative 11, negative 29, you're going to combine those to make 40, and it's going to be negative. And if you want, you can use, there's a rule, if the numbers, if you're adding or subtracting, so if you're combining terms, not multiplication or division, if you're combining terms and the signs are the same, you combine the values. And you can take the number from the sign of the bigger number and use that because it will always be true. So we can use that part of the other rule here, so negative 40. And so when we use negative 11 as the x value, we get negative 40, which is what we set out to solve. All right, let's take a quick look at the next one. We're going to apply the same principles. We're always going to start by looking at the x and what's happening to x. We want to isolate x. And once we've isolated x, this is going to say x is equal to whatever x is. So we're just going to follow those steps. So this is negative 19 is equal to negative 18 plus x. So what's happening to x? Negative 18 is being added to x, right? So we want to do the opposite, inverse operation. So this is adding a negative. And so we're going to want to subtract. Well, what are we going to want to do? Let's rewrite this as negative 19 is equal to x minus 18, right? So negative 18 plus x is really taking 18 away from x. And sometimes when you have a lot of signs, it's easier to simplify your expression. And you can see the path more clearly. So we'll go from x minus 18. And so now 18 is being subtracted from x. So we're kind of like what we had here where 29 was being subtracted from x. And they just kind of disguised it one step further away. So we're going to add 18 to both sides, positive 18 to both sides. And these two are like matter and antimatter. They're going to cancel out, leaving x. So x will be equal to whatever negative 19 and positive 18 are combined. So here we have the same kind of thing. The signs are different, so we'll take the difference. The difference between 19 and 18 is 1. And the number with the larger absolute value is 19. Its sign is negative. So that's the sign that's going to survive on the new number. So x is equal to negative 1. And then we can try to plug this value back in. This is our answer. And we can try to plug this value back in here for x. So negative 18 plus negative 1, is that equal to negative 19? Yes. So that shows that this is the right value and that we approached this correctly. Okay, so it's going to be tricky because there's a negative value here. So basically you are subtracting 18 from x. So if you can't see that easily, try a few similar problems to this one until you can see how to solve it. We're always trying to isolate x, and you're going to want to add 18 to both sides. This is a negative 18, so to get rid of that, you're going to add 18 to both sides. Okay? So even if you didn't rewrite, let's do it over here. Negative 19 is equal to negative 18 plus x. We can just go ahead and add, we can add positive 18 here and eliminate that, right? So we have x, and then we'll do the same thing over here. Negative 19, positive 18, the signs are different, so we're going to take the difference between the numbers, and then we're going to keep the sign of the larger number. That's the number with the larger absolute value. And we'll get the same answer. So just think about inverse operation. You want to isolate x. Give those a try and let me know if you have any trouble, and message me from inside the app. I'll try to give you a hand.